Hi, it's Cami here. How you doing? I'm going to be talking today about how to end the feast and famine cycle in your small consultancy agency or coaching business. And this is a long known cycle that you go through as a business owner that absolutely is something that you can overcome. And so I really want to talk about that now, especially with all of the things going on in the world. Things have changed, things have come on board, there's been all kinds of crazy stuff. But in the end of the day, you want to have constant, consistent business if you have a small business. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about how I've overcome that for my business and how I continually work at keeping that happening. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what the feast and famine cycle really is about. So definitely, if you are listening in, and I would love to know you're here, just let me know in the comments. Just say I'm here or I'm present or whatever. And let's just get rolling because I want to really talk about this. And I've got a 4-part system that I use to make sure that my business always has great leads coming in, that we always have a smooth transition, that we have similar and growing income on a monthly basis. And so I just want to kind of share that with you. I thought maybe you might be interested in that. So if you are, let me know interested and I'll continue. So there we go. You're interested. Good. So in the end of the day, I kind of take this 4-part process and I'm going to kind of outline what it is up front, and then I'll go through each point, and then at the end, I'll remind you what they are. But number 1, we have a really strong promotion plan, and I will go into the details of what that means. Number 2, we have a process for managing the interest that comes into the business. So like, what kind of process do you have in place for that? Number 3, we get the help that we need. We get the help that we need to continuously run a promotion process. So if you are a solo entrepreneur, that's awesome. You can still get help. You do not have to hire somebody full-time to do that. But definitely you want to make sure you get the help you need. And then number 4, we have an onboarding process for our clients, and that makes things a lot more smooth to bring new people in, because sometimes people will avoid bringing new people in because it's just, there's a lot of stress around that too. So let me go through all 4 parts of this, and I'm going to break it down for you exactly what happens. And let me first explain what I'm talking about when I talk about feast or famine. So what will happen generally, I've been doing this for 20 years now, is you will get a client, and or maybe 2 or 3, and as it goes, you're starting to feel pretty good about your revenue. So maybe at the very beginning, you have no clients. You're like, that's the famine part, right? And you work and you work and you talk to people and you do all this stuff. And then, slowly but surely, you might get a client or 2 clients, whatever. And then pretty soon you'll find that you get to this point where you can't do any more work. You're so busy that you are like, I can't manage anything else. If anybody else comes in, I'd have to say no, because I just couldn't even help them. I couldn't even service them properly if they came on board right now. And you will feel that kind of twinge. And what will happen for most people that are doing this, especially if you're a solopreneur or a small company, is that you will kind of back off of your promotion. You'll just back off. You'll just back off just a little bit. You'll take your foot off the gas. And then, no new leads are coming in, but it doesn't really bother you because you have this really great, you're just busy. You're too busy to manage it. And then, like, just say one of those clients will drop off, maybe naturally because it's the end of a contract, or maybe, you lose that client because somebody new comes into the job and they hire their friend or whatever. You lose that client. And then what ends up happening is you are suddenly pedaling hard because you're like, I've got to know how I'm going to get that done. And so that's where you go with that. So that is absolutely 100% the feast and famine. And then what ends up happening is then suddenly you're in the trough of the famine and you aren't able to quickly get a new client on board because you haven't been promoting. So it's kind of like this up and down circular thing. I remember when I first came in to my to being a consultant, all the consultants around me were saying, well, during the summer, it's just slow. And I'm in the public relations and communication space. It's just slow during the summer. People are on vacation and they aren't going to hear you. And so that's why it's slow in the summer. And you kind of just sort of had to accept that it was slow in the summer. It doesn't have to be slow in the summer. Let me explain. So let me go from the very top. So number one, you want to have a promo plan. That's the first thing that you want to have in place. And that means that you need to show up somewhere on a regular basis. So here I am live streaming to you on Thursdays. That's what I do. The only time I don't live stream is when I'm on vacation or something like that. Otherwise, I'm always out here. I'm always live streaming. So you don't have to live stream. You can have a podcast. You can have, a blog post that you put out there and then you promote across social media. You can do media appearances. I do that too. I do media appearances, and I also go on other people's shows and podcasts. Yesterday, I was on Chip Griffith's show, and today I am going to be on Mark's. And I just keep continually, showing up in different places. And that's really, really important that you continue to do that. So I really require myself to do at least one of these per week, where I show up somewhere and I share my expertise, whatever that is. And so you need to think about what that is for you and just do it. And it has to be something you're creating. So in the end of the day, it's great to go out there, show up and post on social media, other articles and things like that. And that's great. You can do that. And that's definitely great, but it's not the same as showing up and sharing your thought leadership or expertise. So that's what you need to think about. What is the right place for you? So I don't know if you're more into video, if you're more into audio, writing, whatever it is. I have some friends that Chris Woolney is great at Medium. He uses Medium and he types and he writes a lot of articles, and he teaches you how to do that. So there you go. Yes, I am streaming here too. So I multi-stream. I stream across all the different platforms. So I'm glad you saw it on Twitter. I wasn't even sure if Twitter was still working, because they definitely are kind of, I'm not sure how that all is going to transition. Anyway, long story short, you need to be out there every single week somewhere, sharing your thought leadership. And again, you could take a vacation, you can be off for Christmas. I know some people say you can't do that, but I just think that's impractical. I mean, if you want this to last for 20 years, remember that you are going to have a longevity about it. So you can take a break here and there, but the bottom line is if you want your business to have consistent revenue, you're going to have to do this. Hi, Nick. I see you. Hi. Eileen's here, Nick's here. Good. So let me know if you're here for sure. And then that's number one, is that visibility piece. You want to be out there at least once a week. And that's really the first thing you need to do. Along with visibility, which is part of your promotion plan, you also want to have a list of what I call your champions or your connectors. And those are people that are going to support you. There are people that say nice things about you. There's people that are going to refer you to other people. You want to have a good list of who those are. And I do this all the time. Like, I make sure I'm going out there and consistently engaging with those people, because you want to continue the relationship. They are people that recommend you to other people. And so you want to make sure that's part of it. So part of your promo plan has to be, one, showing up, and two, connecting with the people that are going to help you out along the way, and having that long view on it. Oh, good. Chris, hi. It's good to see you. Chris is a great video guy. And I owe you a bunch of videos. So here's one. Anyway, so that is awesome. And that's your first step. Okay. So if you want to have a business that is not feast or famine, you need to get out there and be visible, and you need to connect with the right people. In my online course, I call it the Influence 20. You want these 20 people that you're constantly connecting with that are really great at referring you for other business. That's number one. Number two is then you need a process for managing interested people. So here's the thing. One of the reasons why people back off of doing promotion is because they're just afraid. Like, they don't know how to handle the extra people, because, like, if you get too many people, you can't do the work, right? You think, I just can't do all this work. And so you need to have a plan for how you're going to handle that in advance. So, like, even if you are super full of people, you can do things like create a waiting list. That's another thing you could do. Put people on a waiting list. You can have a network of people that you can pass people off to. So if it's not exactly a fit for you, then you can pass it off to other people that may want that client. And then in the future, they may pass off to you. It's a good, way to build those relationships as well. So you want to have that. I have this really great CRM that's really simple that I use called Streak. And it helps you put together, it's for Gmail only. So if you're not Gmail, it doesn't work for you. But I love Streak. It's free. And you can put it into your Gmail and you can follow them through an entire process, like from interested all the way to being a client. And you can set up all kinds of funnels in there, what they call funnels, but basically like steps, like what steps you're taking people through, and then keep track of them without losing who they are, where they are, what they're doing, and keeping in touch with them very easily. So I like Streak for that. So think about that. It's a great tool and it's free. And that is really the deal, though, is having a process to manage them. And for my online courses and stuff, I actually have something in the text above this or below this or wherever you're at. I've actually put in a link to a wait list for a membership that I'm going to be putting together that's all about how to do these things for your business, like how to keep this going and how to keep your promotion happening. And we're going to be working on it in a way for that you get things done on a regular basis. Because one of the other things is accountability, especially if you're all by yourself or very small. Sometimes you don't do this stuff because it's like easy to put it off because your clients take all over all of your time. So remember that you need to have that process in place. So number one is your promo plan and your connection with your people. And number two is your process to manage all of this, like managing the people that are coming in so you don't feel overwhelmed by it. That's number two. Number three is the big one for many of us. It's like get help. Okay, so get help. So for example, there's a lot of things I can do, but I know I should not be doing them. For example, when I first launched my online course, I was putting together my Facebook ads and I was really like stressed out, and I can do Facebook ads. I actually run Facebook ads for customers all the time. And I thought, oh, I can do this. But things were crazy busy and I wanted to have the time to be able to connect with my new clients versus being in every day, like trying to figure out, what's the best audience and all that. And so I just reached out to my friend Taji and Tassio and said, hey, I need you to run my Facebook ads for this event. And he goes, that's great. And he just jumped in and his team ran them for me. So I hired somebody to do something I knew how to do. It's really hard to do that, I think, for most entrepreneurs. You're afraid you don't have enough money. You're afraid you're not going to give it up to somebody, all these other things. But in the end of the day, you need to have some kind of help. And I remember when I first learned this lesson is when I actually hired my assistant, who is Devana. And this has now been years and years ago at this point. And I was just really overwhelmed with a lot of like administrative tasks. And I thought, I can't afford to hire anyone to help. And I have these clients and I just didn't see it. And so when I hired my admin, I actually gave her a couple of billable hours for the client and in the administrative stuff that needed to happen that I was already doing. And then I was able to almost pay for that administrative assistant 100% by just giving them a couple of billable hours, and it paid for all their other hours too, because obviously, I pay them less than I'm getting paid. So it's amazing what you can do if you think about it. But the bottom line is that you need to switch that mindset. You must get help for these things as you go on, because your highest value is being out there connecting with potential clients. That's your highest value, showing them what you and your team, if you have one, can do for them. So I didn't have a team for a long time. I do now, but it took years for me to get to that point. But if you're just by yourself, just like a couple of hours a week from an admin could change your life, could completely change your life. So, okay, sorry, I'm kind of passionate about that because it was hard for me too. So you have your promo plan, you have your process for managing new leads that are coming into the door so you're not overwhelmed by them. Now you have some help to help you maybe even organize those leads as they come in and manage things. Maybe manage your calendar, schedule, setting up your Calendlies, making sure everything's in order. And then you need to have an onboarding process. That's number 4. So for your clients, when they're new to you, you need to have a really clear onboarding process that you don't have to think about too much. Like you're like, here's step number 1. We need to do this, 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 and this. The reason why you need that is number 1, because it'll make it easier for you to get clients started faster and paying you faster. And number 2, because you can actually hand those onboarding processes off to other people as you do grow your team. And so that, my friend, is going to free up all the time that you need for number 1, which is your promo plan. So that alone will keep you from having this feast or famine cycle. Because if you're always out there and you're always cultivating new leads, even if you're busy with your customers, then when you need it, you are not going to have a hugely hard time getting another customer. It's really, really important. And I just, I feel like that I'm hoping that all of you have something like that in place. Let me know if you do have something like that in place for your business right now. And if you do, and you're like, I still am having trouble, let me know, because I'd love to answer your questions. I'm definitely going to be coming out with a series of videos over the next Thursdays, like maybe a couple months or so, about this, about how to run your small agency or consultancy better and how to get yourself seen. So I may jump into like maybe the promo part of it a little bit more in detail, like exactly what we do, maybe in next week. I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do next week. So I'm going to kind of go through these processes, but let me know if you have any questions about this specifically and how to get your small business, your small agency on a right track to consistently having clients and leads. I'm really, really excited for that. And if you're interested in sort of some of the master classes and stuff I'm going to have coming up on this particular topic, I definitely have put a link in the bio, the promo, whatever it is above, and you can just click on that and put your name in and sign up for that. I'm going to be sending out some emails around that pretty soon. So that's it. Thank you so, so, so much for attending today, and I will talk to you next Thursday. Take care.